My name is Mary Christian. I am representing the photo managers. We are a global community of professional photo organizers, family storytellers, and business owners doing the work that we love here all across the world. Actually, we're a global community. And we have one of our professional photo managers here, Shanna, with Ginger Snaps. And she is going to be presenting Photo Books Clarified. And she's going to be talking about making meaningful photo books and the 6 essential steps involved in every photo book project, giving you clarity, confidence, and the tools you need to create that beautiful keepsake. And then we also want to thank our sponsor, Printique, for hosting this webinar for us today. And Michelle Libby is joining us here as well. And Michelle, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little bit more before we get started, and we hand it over to Shanna.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Libby, and I'm with Printique. And if you haven't heard of Printique, we are a photography lab. We're based in Brooklyn, New York. We're actually a part of Adorama, which is the big camera store, retailer, electronic store in New York. It's one of the last few standing retailers, solo enterprises, and retailers that still is owned by its original co-founders. So we've been in the business for about 25 years, and we are passionate about preserving your photos and getting them off of your computer, phones, and everything else. And we try to make it as easy as possible. And we have photo books, prints, wall decor, calendars, a little bit of everything. So I'm here for any questions that you might have. And if you need any follow-up, I will be putting my email in the chat box here as well, too.
All right. Well, I think we have quite a few people now. So Shanna, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Sure, will do. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
I also just wanted to add, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer at the end of the webinar.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Let's talk about photo books. It's a very popular topic, and I think for some people is a little overwhelming. So I'd like to just go through the steps involved and try to streamline this process for you and make it a little more practical in your everyday. So in the next 45 minutes or so, I'll walk you through the steps so we can hopefully get some of the photos, like Mary was saying, we want to get people's photos and memories off their devices, off their phones, off their computers, and out where they can be seen and enjoyed. So does this sound familiar to you? I have thousands of photos. Where do I even start? Maybe you have old hard drives or shoe boxes full of prints. You're not sure, but the sheer volume of photos is a little bit overwhelming. Or daily life gets in the way. Where do I find time to do a project like this? So you keep thinking, I'll do it. And then that day never comes. And now you're years behind. Maybe you did a photo book for kid number 1, maybe partly for kid number 2, and then you don't have any more. Or maybe you have a wedding album or vacation albums you'd like to do. Let's get this process going for you. Another common struggle that I see from people or hear from people a lot is, I don't want to mess this up. I feel like I'm not creative enough. I don't really know how to do this. But websites like Printique and maybe others that you've used set these things up for you. They make it simple as they can for you. So let's go through the process so you can get working on your books. Just know that in all these struggles, you are not alone, and this is possible. Your memories are definitely worth preserving. So these are the 6 steps that we're going to go through. I'll focus on each one: theme, the programs that you can use, size and style of book options, gathering your photos, designing pages, and then finalizing and ordering your book. And then there's a couple little bonus downloads at the end for you. So to introduce myself, I'm Shanna. My business is Ginger Snaps, and I'm a certified photo manager in Ontario, Canada. And I have 5 main services that I offer. Digital photo organizing is a very popular one. People are overwhelmed with all the digital chaos, so they bring me all the devices and I get all their digital photos in order. Printed photo curation, so I help people work through the old photo albums, the old boxes of prints, maybe photos that they've inherited from parents or grandparents. We kind of come up with a plan and we get everything into order. Custom photo books, I do a lot of photo books for people, video conversion, and then scanning and digitizing. So before we move on, we have 2 giveaways for you from Printique, both valued at $50. So I'd like you to put in the chat, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to photo books? Just type in there what is stopping you, what's holding you back, what's your biggest challenge. If you can go ahead and just answer there for a second. Just give it a second here. Knowing where to start. Organizing photos. Yes. Time. Yes, definitely. All the common problems. So what Mary's going to do with these comments that are coming through, we've chosen a number ahead of time. So the 12th comment to be in there, you are going to win the $50 prize. So Mary can let us know when we know who that is, who's going to win that one.
Yeah, sure. Just give me 1 second. I think. So, Saint Lou or ST Lou, you're the winner. So I will.
Thank you. It's actually short for Stan.
Oh, Stan. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations. There'll be one more chance to win later in the presentation. So we will carry on for now, and Mary and or Libby will connect with you on a detail here. Oh, there we go. She put it in the chat already. Okay. All right. So 3 small but mighty thoughts that I want to mention before we actually dive into the first section, which is theme, is we have to keep this simple. So the idea is to get your memories out and not be overwhelmed. So in this, think about what you love and what you don't love. If you are a person who loves to journal, then maybe you want to add a lot of text. If, like me, that's your least favorite part, then don't get overwhelmed by it. Do photo books and don't expect plenty and plenty of text on each page. Just keep it simple. Do what's going to work for you practically. And I hear all the time that the hardest part for people is choosing what photos to use. I did see that in the chat there. It came through as well. If you feel overwhelmed with the number of photos in general, it's really it's really easy to just stop and not carry on. But we have to make sure we just don't overthink this. One quick little tip is you're going through your phone, looking at your phone photos. If you have 5 photos that are very similar, start with the first one and the second one. Flip back and forth a few times. This one's better, delete the other one. If you deleted number 2, great. Now it's 1, 3, 1, 3, take a quick peek, delete the other one. A year from now, 10 years from now, you are never going to remember the 4 photos that you just deleted. Pick one that works, delete the others, and move on. Do not overthink. And the other one is expect imperfections. So of course we want to do our best, and we'll talk at the end about when you finalize your book and order it. Of course, you're going to review things and you're going to look for consistency, but do not stress about perfection. Some people get really hung up on this, and if it's your natural tendency, then it can be a real challenge, but you may find a spelling error or you may realize a date is incorrect. These books are mirroring real life, and real life is not perfect. So expect a little bit of imperfection. Okay, let's dive into the first step, which is choosing your theme. So before you start any design project, you need to define the theme. What is the theme of your book? Will it cover a weekend away or a home renovation or graduation? Larger themes would include things like a year in the life of your family, maybe a big long vacation you took, or a wedding. So maybe you have a book in mind for your first photo book. Maybe you have a theme chosen, or maybe you've done books in the past and you're simply here to take things up a level, and that's fine too. But if you're unsure of all the books you'd like to do, then I suggest making a list. Just write out all the books you would love to see on your shelf or your coffee table or wherever you would like to have them. Put every single book down there. Then you can look at it and you can get a sense of priority. What do you really want to work on first? If you are new to this, then I always suggest choosing a smaller theme to start. And I start 3 little samples here. So these are just, if you're a photographer, you can be pro or amateur, whichever. Some people take a lot of nature photos that they really love. Well, great. Choose 20 of your favorite nature photos, pop them in a book, have it printed. You'll get through the process. You'll see what it's like to have your book back in print. A weekend getaway. I have a lot of book samples here that when we go to the questions at the end, I can show you some samples. But I did a challenge. Oh, sorry, this is a month in the life. I did a challenge with a Facebook group I have, and I said, take 1 photo a day during the month of August. This was a year or 2 ago. And we'll just pop 1 photo in a photo book per page. It's really simple. And there you've captured a month in the life of your family. So if you're looking for a way to get started, this could be a theme that might interest you. Just be sure that you keep your first project to a little bit of a smaller scale. The text will likely be less, the photo batch will be smaller, and it's just a really good way to go through the process and learn how to do it. Okay, the second piece is choosing your program. So first thing you need to decide is where will you practically do the work? Do you want to work on your computer or your laptop? And if you do, are you Mac or Windows? Do you want to use a tablet? Do you want to use your phone? And if you're a phone user, are you on iPhone or Android? Or will you use a combo? So practically speaking, are you someone who finds yourself in a vehicle waiting on people often and you could do some pages up on your phone? Or maybe you're someone who works on a big computer in your office and you would love to do your designing on there. Maybe you like to sit on the porch with your tablet. Practically, where do you want to do the work? And that will help you determine what program you can design or could design in. Again, we're keeping it simple. We're keeping it practical. So what is your favorite program to use? I would love to hear that. If you want to toss it in the chat, I'd love to hear. So obviously, we are here with Printique. So I will definitely recommend Printique as a site that you try using. I have printed books through Printique. The quality has been great. If you are in Canada, you can still print through Printique, and there are some Canadian options as well, which I can talk about later if you want to, but Printique is definitely a great quality site to use. Now, sites like Printique, they're design websites. So you go on, you log in, you create your project, you design it, you order. Everything is done in one place. What I want to talk to you about next are some other options of where you can design your books or your pages, take those designs, and then upload them to a site like Printique to have your actual book printed. If you are a Canva user, I know so many people use Canva. It's so user-friendly. It's available. People often have it for committee work or maybe work business-related features. So if you are comfortable in Canva, then feel free to design in Canva. You can go in, you can decide what size of book you would like to use through the Printique site, whatever site you're using. You go into Canva, you set up your pages, and you design your pages in Canva. Work where you're comfortable. Album Stomp and Smart Albums. So if any of you are photographers, then you may have heard of these. These programs were designed for photographers to put albums together for their clients from their photo shoots, and they're very user-friendly. They're very simple. They're very solid color background, a lot of white. You can change that to black or whatever color you like, but very block sections of photos, but very easy to use, very efficient. If it's something that interests you, I can tell you a little bit more about those programs. But again, you would go into those programs, you would design your pages, then you would take your pages and upload them to Printique for printing. Project Life. If any of you, going back a few slides, and we were talking about where do you want to do the work? If you are someone who would love to be able to put a book together on your phone, something like Project Life is a good app option. You design page by page, very simple, very user-friendly. When you're finished the page, then you would export it. You can upload it to somewhere like Printique for your ordering. And finally, Adobe. So if any of you here are designers in any way, and you have the Adobe suite, then you could use InDesign. Some people use Photoshop, which some people argue is not the best program for it because you end up with these massive file sizes for each page, but some people do design there. So again, work where you are comfortable. Okay, so you've decided what you're going to do the work on and what program you're going to use. So now you need to choose the size and style of your book. This can really vary depending on where you have your book printed. If you go on the Printique website, they have many, many options for sizing. You have your square options, portrait, and landscape, and these are a few of the size options available on their site. The best thing is to go on yourself and take a look through at the options there. Decide on your size. Now keep in mind, relating to where you want to print your book and where you want to design your book, if you're using something like Project Life, you can only design in square shape. So you know that when you go to Printique, you're going to have to order a square book. So just keep those sorts of things in mind depending on what program you're using. The next thing you have to decide is your size and style of book. or sorry, is your cover style of book. So you have soft cover, hard cover, there are fabric options, there are metal options, there are acrylic options. Now, of course, these are upgrades. As you move up, the price will also increase, but they can create very stunning books. If you have a really beautiful photo book with an acrylic cover, it's quite amazing. Page style is something else you need to choose. Standard pages compared to lay flat pages. When you open a lay flat book, it will sit completely flat, often seamless. So you can have large photos spanning both pages, which is a really, really nice feature. Standard pages, when you open them, they're like every book where they just have a bit of a curve in it and you'll lose a little bit of the visual in the gutter of the book. And again, I have some samples here. I have the same book printed in softcover, hardcover standard, and hardcover lay flat. So I can show you those at the end so you can see the comparison between the three. Then once you choose lay flat, you often have many other options for high-end papers, and this can be fun to play around with. Whether you like glossy or matte, or there's metallic options. This pebble option was new to me, and I tried it on a Printique book, and it's a really, really nice paper. You can also choose thin or thick. There are many, many choices. Okay, so you've decided what you're designing and now gathering your photos. So this is a very difficult step for people, and really this is a webinar all of its own because our photos are often chaotic. The main point though, before you start your photo book, is to gather all your photos in one location. I think I'll use a travel book as an example for this. So if you travel and you've taken all your photos on your phone, then they should be sitting together chronologically on your phone. The exception to this will be if others from your trip have shared photos with you via messaging apps or email, etc. Sometimes when you pull those photos from those apps, they take on the date you pulled them from those apps rather than the date they were taken. If that's the case, then you may need to take a little bit of time to go into those extra photos and adjust the date so that you have everything sitting together in one location. Shared albums, for those of you who are iPhone users, if you haven't heard of shared albums, this is a fantastic way to share photos with one another, especially on things like holidays or even family events. You can create a shared album and you can invite others to it, and everybody can add photos to that shared album. Then anybody is able to go into that shared album and pull out the photos that they really want to keep. The great thing about the shared albums is all of the metadata stays intact. So the date they were taken, the full resolution version of the photos, any map information, all that sort of thing, it's all included in those photos. So if you're an iPhone user and the other people around you are also, it's a great way to share photos back and forth. That will keep this step a little simpler for you in the end. So once you have all your photos together on your phone, it's best to create an album or a folder. Start popping photos into that album whenever you have a few minutes. You think, okay, I have 20 minutes to sit down with these photos today. Create an album, we'll call it 2022 Banff. And now, okay, I have 20 minutes, I'm gonna start going through my photos, and whatever photos I really feel like I want in my book, I just move into that album. Then when you're ready to create your photo book, you have that one album to go to and it holds everything there. The other thing that you can do on your phone is use your favorites button. I do find though, with all the phone photos that I work with people, the favorite button is usually overused. So they have thousands of photos in their favorites section. So for me, I use my favorites area more as a working space. It depends how you work with that on your phone. But if you're able to clear out your favorites section, and you can go in and you can simply click on the heart or the star, depending on your phone, and it will pop it in to that favorites album. Then you know when you're ready to do your book, you just simply open your favorites and everything is right there for you. If you use a standard camera, a standalone camera, so you're traveling or you've taken family photo shoots, whatever it is, you probably have your camera and you have a connection to your computer. That's how most people are doing this. And in theory, it's the same. You want to create a folder, and you can even have subfolders within that. You might have a master folder, 2022 Banff, and then in there you might have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Put your photos all into those folders, and when you're ready to do your book, you go to that one location. Now, printed photos. Some of you have books that you want to work on, maybe with some family history, whatever the theme is. You may have printed photos that you want to combine in with your digital photos. This gets a little overwhelming for people as well. Step number one, though, is to gather them all into one location. Instead of thinking, oh, my sister has those 5 photos and I have that one in a frame and I have that one here, gather them all and put them all physically on the same table so you can see what you're working with. At this point, you'll need to digitize them. Now, there are a few different ways you can do that. You can hire somebody like a photo manager or somebody else who provides professional scanning services. Photo level scanning services is what I recommend. You can invest in a scanner, although if it's for one project, it's not really worth investing in a photo scanner. They're quite pricey when you're looking for the super high quality, high resolution images. I definitely don't recommend using the printer, scanner, fax, all-in-one copier machine. Those ones will not give you a good scanning image to work with. There is an app. People often ask about scanning apps. They are available. There is one that I use, and it's called PhotoMine. So photo and then MYNE for certain projects. I have to clarify for certain projects though. For example, I created a school book for each of my boys when they graduated high school. I went through the bins of papers and report cards and art and all that. I scanned all of those pieces with the PhotoMine app. And then I put them all into a book and I purged all of that clutter. So a project like that, the scanning app is perfect. If you have precious family photos that you really want preserved, then I definitely recommend high resolution scanning for those ones. One tip that is best, so this becomes a little less overwhelming, gather wherever it is easiest for you. So if all of your photos are on your phone, gather them into one location there. Doesn't matter where you're going to design, just gather them all there. If you would then rather work on your laptop, open your laptop, open the Printique website, choose your book, go through all your sizing options, open a project, give it a name and save it. Then open that same project on Printique on your phone, hit the upload button and upload all the photos from your phone as you want them. Once they're there, hit save and go back to your computer to do the work. So people get really hung up on how do I get my photos from my phone to my computer, and don't worry, gather where it's the simplest, and then you can upload from whatever device you're on, regardless of where you want to do the actual design. Another little tip when it comes to designing your book when you're possibly waiting for photos from other people is if you're waiting, for example, on a large group photo from a vacation you were on, create a page for it, have a photo box for it, and just add a little text box in there and says photo coming from Shanna. And then you'll know this is where that group photo comes. So a week from now, when somebody emails it to you, you simply pop it in and you move on. Then you won't forget about it and you don't have to get hung up on waiting for it. Okay, gathering photos. That was a big section and I'm more than happy to answer more questions on that, but let's move on to the next, which is design. So this is the fun part. You have your project all set up, you know where your photos are. Now you can work away at your pages. Again, do not overthink. Pick a photo, drag it onto your page, and move on to the next. Now, I always like to design my pages with photos only, and then I will go back to the beginning of the book at the end and add any text at the same time. For me, it just kind of flows better. That is my least favorite part, so I leave it to the end and then I add what I want, and mine is usually fairly simple. I do not have a ton of text, and there are different opinions on this. Some people feel like there should be a lot of text and a lot of detail. And of course, that's great. You do want to know who people are 50 years from now when somebody looks at the book. But to keep it realistic, anything we can do to get your photos out in print is better than not doing them at all, is better than them kind of rotting away on the devices. So whatever it's going to take for you to get them out, let's do that. Whoops, I always suggest starting with a template. There are so many to choose from on the Printique site, on Canva, wherever you want to work. There are hundreds of templates to choose from. They have layouts set up for you. They have backgrounds that coordinate. They have fonts that look great together. So definitely start with a template. You can still adjust and delete and add, and you can do what you want, but it at least gives you a starting point. Okay. I always import my photos in sections. So if we go back to the Banff photo book, for example, I will import my photos for day one and I will design with those photos. Maybe that means one spread, maybe it means 4 spreads, but I tackle that one group of photos and I design with those, and then I import the next batch. And I should clarify, because I've had this question before, what is the difference between a page and a spread? So a page, when you have a book open and you are looking at a full left side and right side, that is one full spread with 2 pages, the left page, the right page, and together they make one spread. Be selective with your photos. So even though you have sorted through your photos already, that does not mean you need to use every single one that you put into that album. If you get putting them on the page and you think, ooh, those 2 are very similar, simply remove one. Your photos will have more impact when they're unique. If you have 3 photos almost the same on the page, you're taking away from all 3 of them. So pick one. You do not need to use every single photo that you put in that album. You have complete control. So be selective. Add variety in your layouts. So if you look at the 3 samples on the right side of the screen there, they're very different layout styles. The top one is very uniform. The photos are very similar. There's kind of a focal photo and then 3 supporting photos. The second layout is very full of detail. And realistically, a lot of books end up that way. When people want to do a year in the life of their family, books are going to look like that because they want to pack as many memories as they can onto those pages. And then the last one is one beauty photo with, and there's a kind of a tag space there. You can write some detail, a story, some names, a date, whatever it is, but 3 different styles there, and just play around with that. Add variety in your layouts throughout your book. This is an example of one book that I did up, and it's the same concept, but different type of variety. So you can see the different options on the right, depending on how many photos there were. But I really suggest playing around with your layouts like this. When you are designing your pages, remember your page style. So that's back where we were talking about standard pages versus lay flat pages. If you have lay flat pages, then you have full design capabilities. If you have the standard pages, you're going to lose a little bit of view in the gutter, in the very center where the spine is. So just remember, as you're placing people, not to place people's faces too close to the gutter. Maybe switch them to the other side of the layout. Even with your lay flat pages, I will put all kinds of body parts across that centerpiece, just not directly on the face. Consistency is key. And I have a download that we will share a link to at the end of this presentation, where it's 10 tips to pro photo books. So it's all about consistency in your font choices, in your font colors, in your spacing, in your alignment, in your backgrounds. The more you stay consistent, the more professional your book will look in the end. Okay, we're at the last step. So finalizing and ordering your book. It's now complete. So remember, expect a little bit of imperfection. It may come back and there might be something, hopefully not, but there might be something. Take time to look at your book from the front cover to the back cover. Look for inconsistencies in border sizes, in spacing. You might think, oh, I have that photo in there twice. I didn't even realize. So then you can switch one out, or you can delete one and move things around. Just make sure you review from front to back. Also take time to add or read through your text at this point. So as I said, I'll go back to the front and I'll add my text all in one sitting. If you have added it as you've been designing, that's great too. Just kind of read through and make sure you didn't tell the story twice on 2 different pages, whatever the situation is. So design sites versus design programs, just to go back to this. So a design site is a site like Printique, where you hop on, you create an account, you start your project, you work on it, you design it, you hit order, and it shows up magically in the mail. A design program is a standalone program where you design your pages, Adobe InDesign, Canva, Project Life. You design your pages, but then you need to take those designs and you need to upload them to a site like Printique to create your book. I'm going to just go into a little more detail on that for a second. So if we take these 3 pages, for example, let's say I designed them in InDesign. I need to export those pages as JPEG files, so as image files. Then I go onto the Printique website, I upload those JPEGs, and I put my book together. And again, be consistent. That is key, definitely. So here is, and I think Mary can maybe put in the chat the link to this download. So this is the 10 tips to professional looking photo books. So you can check that out. And then two other things that I wanted to mention to you before we get to the next $50 draw. I do have a YouTube channel, Photo Book Master, and it's all about photo books. I have a bunch of videos up there and I have more coming soon. It's been a little bit of a summer break without adding new ones lately, but in the last month or so, but all kinds of details about photo books on there. So you're welcome to check that out if you're looking for other inspiration or technical help, whatever it is that's there. And I also wanted to mention to you the Ginger Snap Studio. So this is something that I'm launching this fall, and it's a monthly accountability group for people working on photo book projects. So if you use this QR code or this link, Mary has it there in the chat, it's simply adding you to a list for more information. It's not a commitment of any sort yet. It's just saying, hey, I'd love to hear more about this. So I'm actually working, I have a good base right now for my founding members, and I have space for a few more people to add to that. So I would love if you'd be interested in that, and we will build that community into what everybody out there wants it to be. So those two things I really wanted to mention. And if you have any questions on anything I've talked about, feel free to reach out and I'm happy to answer them. Those are my my contact details. And I think right now we'll go on to the next $50 giveaway. So for this one, I'd love to hear from people. What is your favorite? What is your most favorite book that you have created, if you have? And if you haven't created them yet, what book are you most excited to work on or have printed? And just put that in the chat, and then Mary's going to choose one of those for, it's not the same number, it's not 12 again, so you don't wait. It's a different number. But I'd love to hear what book you've done that you're most excited about. You love to show people. Ooh, Italy, France, yes. Nice. Grandchild first trip to grandparents' house, photos in my garden. Oh, perfect. Oh, those would be beautiful photos, I'm sure. Oh, lots of holiday books. The trip books are my most favorite books to work on, absolutely. So in this case, Mary's going to choose the third comment that went up, and that's going to be the winner. Do you know who that is, Mary?
Yes, it's Kathy Astley.
Okay, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to go ahead and put this up for Printique as well. So there's a sale going on right now. So if you have a project you'd love to whip up in the next little bit, the sale goes till September 4th. Take note of that code that you can use. Looks like 20% off photo books, 25% off everything else, or sorry, wall decor, and 20% off everything else. Okay, that concludes what I have to say. So I like to leave lots of time for questions because usually we have them. So let me stop my screen share. Okay.
So the first question that we had was, I have my theme and my photos already edited. I want to do the layout using Affinity Publisher, but I run into questions about color mode, RGB and CMYK sharpening, and whether I should generate a PDF or use another method to upload my layout.
Okay, so the whole world of color modes is not my area of expertise. So usually, I would say photographers have a better handle on that than I do. The other thing that I would suggest is take your exact questions in detail and put it in and ask what is most beneficial for what you want to use it for. I don't want to lead you astray by answering something on those color modes when that's not my total area of expertise. What was the second part of that? I had a, oh,
I would like to, if it's okay, I would like to answer a
sure.
little bit of one.
Yeah.
So most printing labs, general printing labs, will use what's called sRGB. So that's the preferred method of printing. CMYK is more of a like a graphics type printing for brochures and that type of thing. But for skin tones and that type of thing, typically it's sRGB. But yeah, definitely plug it into AI to see if that's the answer as well too.
Yes. And was the other about the exporting as JPEG or PDF? Was that same question?
Said, whether I should generate a PDF or use some other method to upload my layout.
So I wonder if you mean to export your layout, just because upload and download and export all mean something a little bit differently. But if you're talking about creating your layout and then exporting it from that program so you can use it, then you will want to export it as a high resolution JPEG to upload to Printique.
The next question we had was, should the cover be a separate file or just the first thing in a single file for including everything?
That really is dependent on where you design. So can you clarify a little bit more? Like, are you designing this in somewhere like InDesign or on Canva? In that case, it's simply another page in your design, and you will upload it, and you will just add it to the cover on Printique or wherever you're printing. You have full capability to put that image wherever you want.
Yeah, that's Affinity Publisher.
Oh, okay, okay.
You can
So
actually, I was sorry to interrupt. I was actually going to say you can do either or, whatever you're most comfortable with. So when it's uploaded to Printique, when it's the hardcover or the classic, it will be a spread. All right. So the cover will be on your right-hand side and the back will be on your left-hand side. If you're not comfortable designing a full spread for front and cover, then you can just upload one image to the cover. So either way will work. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. The one thing you do have to make sure is the spine. So the bigger your photo album, you're going to see that spine, start to get thicker. So when you're designing the cover, try not to put a title on it until you know how many pages you have, because otherwise that title could shift on the cover if you're doing the full spread.
yeah.
Okay, the next question we had is, after you're finishing composing your photo book, let it sit for several days and then revisit it before ordering. Oh, that was just I'm sorry, that was just a a suggestion.
That's
There's
a good
It's a good idea.
let it sit for several days and then revisit before ordering, giving you the chance to make any final changes.
Yep. If you're patient enough.
And then another one was, I know Blurb makes an InDesign template available to download that automatically creates printable areas for all the pages, bleeds, etc. Does Printique make any kind of Affinity Publisher templates?
No, we do not. We do have partners, but they're more on the professional side with Fundy and Smart Albums. So that's who we've partnered with currently. Most of it is basically all online, and we also have something called an auto builder within our program where you push a button, say go ahead and build this out for me. It will take your pictures and images and build it out for you. It's very intuitive. You can swap, drag, drop everything. So something similar, but not with Affinity, I believe you said.
Yeah, can I just comment on that? That is one thing to take into consideration if you're setting up your pages somewhere else in InDesign or in Canva. Go on to the website and look for the specs, and it will say, it should say somewhere, design your pages as this. It might be 10 and an eighth square or something, so that you have that bleed section, so that when you have your book printed, your photos go right to the end, or your backgrounds or whatever it is. Yeah.
And I know someone just asked if they have questions when they're designing. Are they able to reach out to someone at Printique to answer those?
That would be me. Yes, your concierge. I'll put my email in here as well. Anyone can reach out to me.
I think that's all the questions we had, unless anyone else has any additional questions. It looks like we have one more. Once you place a book order, how long do you have to complete the project?
Like, once you set up a book, it sits there indefinitely in Printique, doesn't it, Libby? It'll just, yeah.
Yeah, so you're once you create the book, it's there as long as you have an active account. So an active account is basically ordering something, doesn't matter what it is, once a year. So we know that someone is still on your account, and yeah, so it will stay there indefinitely.
All right. Are there any additional questions for Michelle or Shanna? Is there anything else you guys want to add? Michelle or Shanna?
think that covers, did anybody want to see any samples of anything? Is anybody interested in seeing the difference between the soft cover, the standard pages, and the layout? I have those beside
Yeah,
me. Can I show you
let's do that. That's a good
Okay.
idea.
I have this same book printed all three ways. Okay, and you can see, I'll just move a little closer, the three different styles. So this is the soft cover. Everybody's fairly familiar with what a soft cover book looks like. And then this would be the hardcover, standard pages. Sometimes I can do this and open to the exact same photo, but it doesn't usually work out that way. But that's standard pages. Still awesome, but you do have that gutter piece that you have to consider what goes in that gutter. Okay, and then comparatively, I can show you the lay flat. It's the same photo in lay flat. Okay. So really nice. One thing to consider with lay flat books, these are really great for kids. They're also really great for older people because they're much easier to handle. So if you're making a book for older people, then I definitely consider lay flat, or I definitely recommend, I should say, lay flat. And really good for obviously trip photos where you can have your landscapes or large group photos. Those would be the benefits of lay flat. Yeah.
Someone just asked, what are the advantages of and disadvantages of white versus black backgrounds?
I have found, and Libby can answer this too. I used to work in a print shop as well that printed photo books, and black can look very nice. Black also marks easily, and it also depends on the paper and the everything you're using. And I don't want to discourage black if that's something you want to do, but I do find that black just tends to mark from use more than white. Would you agree?
Yeah, and also depending on the paper, sometimes, especially if it's like a luster or glossy, you can see fingerprints more on that type of paper. But if it's more of a matte, then it's fine. But yeah, it all depends. Like if it's if you're thinking black, then I would probably do I wouldn't necessarily do it on the cover because that's where you're going to get the most wear and tear. Inside is fine, no problem. But yeah, if you're thinking about long term for the covers, I would probably keep it to a color or white just to, add to its longevity and brace you of anybody spilling anything on it or fingerprints or any sort of dirt or anything like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had a couple more questions. When adding text, will pictures move automatically?
No, you'll have to adjust your text boxes accordingly and move things around on the page as you want to. In pretty much anywhere that you're probably going to end up designing. Yeah.
And what number of pages do you recommend for a single book, or does it change depending on the hard soft cover or layout, or lay flat versus regular?
Yeah, that's a big question. And I think I forgot to mention that actually. It's one thing you want to consider when you're thinking about what page style you would like, because often the lay flat pages have a lower cap for number of pages. So if you want to put a year in the life of your family into one book and you're hoping to do 200 pages, then probably a lay flat is not the right option for you because it's not going to fit. I can't say exactly, probably Libby can tell us what the page count for lay flat and all that is on their site, but they also get to be very heavy. So I can show you, let me give you an example here. I'm always trying different books when I print mine. So I have a trip book here from Ireland and Scotland, and it's a big, beautiful book, but it is heavy. It is very heavy. So it's not necessarily the best option. Like it's fantastic, but it's just so super heavy. Whereas you can have another trip book that's this big and just as beautiful. So if you're going to have a good number of pages, I wouldn't necessarily go thick because they have the option between thin and thick. And it sounds great and all that, but then when you get a book back that's super heavy, it's not ideal. But Libby, can you expand on number of pages for lay flat versus regular through Printique?
Yeah, it's exactly that. So for our lay flats, for both our hardcover photo books and our albums, it's going to be 100 pages. And for that exact reason is that it's it's photo paper glued back to back, adhered. It's heavy. It is heavy. In fact, in our albums, you can also choose between the classic and the contemporary, where it gets even heavier. So it's very sturdy. But the albums are more for like, the big events like weddings or anniversaries or, graduations, things like that. The hardcover photo book, it's just like what you showed, Shanna, it's just beautiful, but it does have some girth to it. Now the soft cover is Indigo Press, so you can go up to 200 pages on that one. Again, it's a lighter page, and it's very flexible when you turn the page, whereas lay flat, it's a little bit flexible, but it's much more sturdy because again, it's actual photo paper adhered and with heat back to back.
Yeah, and I will say the softcover books are often overlooked. People think, oh, hardcover, and hardcover books are great, but actually the softcover books are very, very nice as well. I do have one softcover book with about 150 pages in it, I think, and I really like it. It's a really nice book. It's also a lower price point, if that's something that matters to you. And I'm not sure, I know on a lot of sites that run sales, often the softcover books are excluded from those sales. Can you tell us with Printique, Libby, is that the case usually?
No, the only thing that's excluded from our sales are basically like gift cards, any
Okay.
extras that you put onto albums like gilding or rounded pages. Or the only other thing that is excluded is we have metal prints that are from 40 by 40 inches all the way up to 40 by 60 inches. Those are not included in any sale, but everything else is on sale.
Okay, that's good to know, because if you want to start out with the other thing that boosts the cost of a photo book is the extra pages. That's where you're going to really add on the cost. So if you know you want a large number of pages, maybe softcover is the right move. And especially if you can get in on a sale with it, then that's perfect. Yeah.
Also, David asked, how often do you use frames around your pictures?
Borders, probably, you mean, just because some places have fancy frames, some design sites have fancy frames you can put, but borders, that is simply a style preference. I tend not to. I'm a drop shadow person, so I'll put drop shadows on all my photos and not frames, or not frames or borders. But really, it's a style. It's whatever style you prefer. For me, I never use them. Lots of people do use them, and that's simply a design choice. Yeah.
And how long does it take on average to create and lay out a spread?
Ooh, a spread. That's probably hard for me to answer because I'm to the point now, I do a lot of books for people, so I can pump out spreads quite quickly. If you're new to this, the great thing is when you go on the Printique website, or say you start in Canva for your files, wherever it is, they have layouts ready for you. So it does not need to take a lot of time. Let's hope you could get to the point where in 10 minutes you can have a spread put together. You have your photos chosen, they're uploaded. You've got this layout that they've already put together for you. You pop your photos in, you make sure they're where you want to go. I'd like to say that you could complete that spread in 10 minutes. That's being ready to work on that spread. Does that sound reasonable to you, Libby?
Yeah, what I was going to say also is it depends if you're a minimalist or a maximalist. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm a minimalist. I love to have one image spread across the whole thing and to just
Yeah.
make it so simple. And
Yeah.
sometimes the bigger the image, because again, if you're even just talking like a 10 by 10, then when you open the spread, that's a 10 by 20 print, and that's a lot of impact. So
Yeah.
I will rarely do more than 4 images on one page. So basically, I'll never do more than 8 because then it starts to look a little more like a scrapbook, and that's not what I'm going for. So
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't take that long at all. But it's again, as a wedding photographer for years, designed albums for years, and I was always trying to talk couples back because I'm like, this is your album. Let's make it really special. Less photos, more impact. We can also do like a second one, like a smaller photo book where we can put all of those guest pictures in for you. And that's, that it just makes sense down the road, that less is more.
Yes. Yeah, it all depends on your project. For the person who was talking about your garden photos, super easy. Put one on each page or one across the 2-page spread and perfect. And you have a book in no time. that can be done so easily. If you're going to work on a year in the life of your family, or even a holiday, if you're working on a holiday trip, you know, you might have the odd layout with a really nice landscape photo, and maybe the next page has 10 photos on it, next spread, because, you know, it was a busy day in Rome. I don't know, whatever it is, but it'll really vary. It really, really varies. Yeah.
And Michelle, are you able to touch on the PDF upload option on the Printique website?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just have Thomas go ahead and email me. I think I said it there earlier. Just go ahead and email me. Everything depends on a couple of things. Depends on your operating system, whether you've cleared your cache, your cookies. So there's a lot that goes into it. So that's best if we just talk about it. And I can
So
help you.
can I ask a question follow up to that? Do you actually, you can upload a PDF to the Printique site? Okay. Not all sites you can do that. Most of them take JPEG only. So that's interesting to know. So usually when I'm telling people to export as JPEG, it's like you're importing an image. It just happens to be your whole page layout. So in this case, if the PDF's ready, that's interesting. That's good. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate Printique sponsoring this webinar, and Shanna for giving all of this great information through your expertise at Ginger Snaps. And really quickly, I just wanted to let everyone know that the photo managers, who I represent, we are having a free global event to help you organize, digitize, and safeguard your most cherished memories or photos next week, starting on Tuesday. It's called Save Your Photos Month, and we'll have live expert videos weekly, every single week through the month of September. Registration's free, and you can sign up really easily at www.saveyourphotos.org.
Great. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. You'll also receive the recording shortly in the next day or so after this.
Super. Have
All
a
right,
good rest of the day.
guys.